We think of Turing as one of the founding figures. Okay? So this is one thing I would say. The other one is a incredibly original mind. I mean that. So when he invented what we call Turing machine, which is a theoretical model for computers, he's 24 years old, and it's a completely innovative model. Now, as it turns out, other people were trying to do this a few years ahead of him. So there are a few people who were a bit ahead of him, but he did not know about the war. So this was completely original.
During the Second World War, most German communications were encrypted on the Enigma cipher machine. The heavily utilized contraption coded secret German messages, making it nearly impossible for the Allied powers to decode the missives that they intercepted. The breaking of the colossal puzzle was a needed dire win for the citizens of the Allied countries in World War II, for the war could have ensued for years without cease, with thousands of lives being lost, unless someone figured out how to decode the messages before the German atrocities ruined the world as we knew it. The Germans increased the security of the Enigma machine by changing the cipher system daily. On the 23rd of January in 1940, Alan Turing, a brilliant mathematician, broke through the German Enigma machine codes using his machine called the bomb. The device read the German air signals, which helped intercept the messages that the Axis powers were sending. Alan Turing was born in London in 1912 and studied at Cambridge University in England, and later studied mathematics and cryptology in Princeton, New Jersey. He later obtained a job before the war broke out at the British government's Code and Cipher School. Alan's war life started with a scare in 1939 when he took a full-time role in Bletchley Park, working with top-tier scientists to break the Enigma code. The Enigma was a machine that enciphered messages so that the Germans could safely send messages through a secured line. Even though Poland and England worked together to crack the Enigma, the Germans increased its security by changing the code every day. This made it possible for millions of possible codes to be used in the ciphers, making the task of understanding the code even more difficult.
Okay, but now the Enigma machine doesn't use one of these rotors, it uses three in a row. You scramble it through one, then through the next, then through the next, then there is a thing they call a plug board, which is almost like another rotor, which scrambles it again, and then it feeds back through the three. So it's kind of scrambled 7 times, but the last 3 are the reverse of the first 3. That's for the first letter. For the second letter in your message, one of the wheels, one of the rotors clicks one space on. Next letter it clicks on again. Keeps clicking on, so it's scrambling things in a different way each time until it's gone all the way around. And when it clicks back to its original position, the next rotor clicks one space on. So if you think of the odometer in a car, the thing that measures how many miles it's done. So you look at the units digit, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. When it comes back to 0, the tens digit goes up by 1. And when the tens digit gets round, you get to 99, both of those get set to 0, but now the hundreds goes up 1. So it's kind of like that. And so this machine worked by this systematically changing way of scrambling the alphabet.
In July of 1942, Turing developed a technique named after himself, Turingery. This method helped others at Bletchley Park to delve into a deeper knowledge of the Lorenz machine. The Lorenz machine enciphered many important and significant German strategy messages, and the ability of Bletchley Park to decode them was to their advantage in the war. In December of that same year, Turing traveled to the United States to advise U.S. military intelligence of the use of the bomb machine and to share his knowledge of the Enigma. During his time there, he saw the latest American advancement on a top-secret speech enciphering system.
Now, to decode it, basically what you need to understand are how the how the rotors are wired up and how this plug board thing on the end is wired up. So you have to work out the possible settings for the whole machine. Now, the Germans, every morning at the start of the day, they would actually send out a message to everybody telling them what the new settings for the machine were going to be, where you set the rotors. Okay, so even when you knew that wasn't enough to do the decoding, because you still had to know how each rotor scrambled the alphabet. But you also needed to know what the starting position for the day was.
First operational break into the Enigma came around the 23rd of January in 1940, when the team working under Dilly Knox with the mathematicians John Jeffreys, Peter Twin, and Alan Turing unraveled the German Army administrative key that became known at Bletchley Park as the Green. Encouraged by the success, the codebreakers managed to crack the red key used by the Luftwaffe liaison officers coordinating air support for the Army units.
And essentially, they had the bomb worked its way systematically through all of the possibilities until it hit something that made sense. Then it stopped and said, okay, now we've got the settings. Then you still had other stages of deciphering to do after that. But it kind of made the problem much simpler, because one of the complications in the number of possible settings for the whole machine was suddenly reduced from many thousands down to we know what it is. So
Alan Turing used cribs in the weather forecast to make the bomb. Cribs were common words found in the coded messages. It was not hard to crack through the letter permutations for the cribs. The bomb reverses the encryption process of the Enigma machine, which operates like a search engine, number crunching possible solutions to fragments of encrypted text. The clues were obtained from daily weather reports, greetings, and test signals, and were helpful since Turing could eliminate letters, leaving a selective amount that he could decode. Secrecy shrouded the fact that the Enigma had been broken. To hide this information, the reports are given the appearance of coming from an M16 spy, codenamed Boniface, with a network of imaginary agents inside Germany. It was of the utmost priority that the British Army kept the fact that the Enigma was cracked a secret, because if the Germans found out that their so-called unbreakable machine was cracked, they would simply add another rotor or create an entirely different machine that would take many more years to decipher. While this was pure fiction, there was a real network monitoring the Germans' every move. The Y Service, a chain of wireless intercept stations across Britain and in a number of countries overseas, listened into the enemy's radio messages. Thousands of wireless operators, many of them civilians but also Wrens, WAAF personnel, and members of the ATS, tracked the enemy radio nets up and down the dial, carefully logging every letter or figure. The messages were then sent back to Bletchley Park, Station X, to be deciphered, translated, and fitted together like a giant jigsaw puzzle to produce as complete a picture as possible of what the enemy was doing. Turing returned to Bletchley Park in March of the following year, where he continued in the field of cryptanalysis. Later in the war, he developed a speech-scrambling device, which he named Delilah. 2 years later, he was awarded an OBE, or an Order of the British Empire, for his wartime work. In 1936, Turing made the renowned Turing machine, which was a hypothetical computing device, and later went on to make the ACE, or Automatic Computing Engine. Alan Turing died in 1954 at the early age of 42. Turing was definitely a leader. He created the absolute earliest examples of artificial intelligence. Some historians speculate that code-breaking operations at Bletchley Park shortened the war by as many as 2 to 4 years. If the hold on the U-boat Enigma was not weakened by Turing and his group, the D-Day landings could have been delayed by about a year or longer, because the route that supplies needed to travel to Britain was the North Atlantic, where the U-boats were located. When one pioneers such an important concept, their role as a leader is obvious. Quite simply, he created a path for other intellectuals to follow. It was Alan Turing who was instrumental in the development of the bomb at Bletchley Park, and it was Alan Turing whose groundbreaking ideas about artificial intelligence really pushed the boundaries of mathematical thinking at the time. He is known as the father of artificial intelligence and has many computer science programs named after him.